Our first guest tonight is a Tony and Grammy Award-winning actor and Broadway legend you know from shows such as Gypsy and Evita. She's starring in the Broadway revival of Company, which is now playing at the Bernard B. Jacobs Theater. Please welcome to the show, Patti LuPone, everyone! Patti, I'm so happy you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm such a big fan of yours. And can I just say that you and A Closer Look got me through the pandemic. The computer became my best friend. I would find you, and you would pinpoint the insanity of this country with such great humor that you leveled me. You kept me calm. You made me laugh. And for that, I am indebted to you.
Oh, my goodness, thank you. What more could you ask for from the beginning of an interview? That means the world to me because I've always been such a huge fan of yours. And this is so thrilling that you were on stage in this revival of Company. This is a very famous show, a very famous role. And do you hesitate at all when you get offered something like this, or do you just jump in with both feet?
Well, I actually had given up musicals when I did War Paint a couple of years ago because I actually started performing on a bone-on-bone hip. I needed a hip replacement, and we had just opened, so I couldn't exactly leave the show. And musicals are difficult physically, and I have 2 new hips and a new shoulder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like yeah. And so I actually gave up musicals, and then Marianne called me, Marianne Elliott, who's the director of Company, who's the director of War Horse, the director of Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. And I had put it out in the universe that I wanted to work with this woman when I saw both of those shows. I gave up musicals, she called. I said, no, 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 no. And then I thought, if I don't work with her, if I don't say yes, she'll never ask me again. So I said yes, and I went to London to do the production in London, this production in London, and then, of course, I was going to do it in my native state, my hometown. So. And
then it was supposed to open like March, I think, 20th of 2020 or somewhere.
On Steve's birthday.
Yeah, on Stephen Sondheim's birthday was going to open.
Yep.
And then obviously the pandemic hit. And then we very sadly lost Stephen last month. You knew him very well.
I knew him. I don't think anybody...
Is it so interesting? So you don't know if anybody really knew him?
Well, I think his intimates knew him. I think Jeff knew him very well, and I knew Mia knows him very well. That would be Mia Farrow. And he has a coterie of friends, and I have a working relationship with him, and I did have a social relationship with him because we both live in the same county, as you do. There'd be high teas, there'd be New Year's Eve parties, there'd be dinners, but I was never comfortable, I have to say. He's an intimidating presence. He's so smart and scary. So I never felt comfortable.
How was he, obviously you were in a situation where he could give you notes, he could give you praise, he could give you criticism. How was he when he would present that feedback to a performer?
Well, in my particular case, it would depend on the show, and it would depend on, for instance, I have this incredible note that sits on my dressing room mirror about this show. And when we did A Little Night Music at Ravinia, he came backstage with really succinct notes and praise. But then when I did Fosca at Lincoln Center Live, I was destroyed by a note.
He gave you a note that destroyed you.
Totally. I mean, I didn't understand it, and all I heard was monotonous mush. And I also thought if there was anybody with less experience than me, they would have turned in their equity cards, because it was a dressing down that was so shocking that, I stopped listening because I was sort of freaked out. And then we figured out what the note was. I asked a bunch of people backstage what we thought the note would have been, and then the next day he came to my dressing room that night when it was live at Lincoln Center, and he said, night and day, and so I knew that I had gotten his approval and I had accomplished the note. And basically, he couldn't understand me when I was emotional. So that's a note that's easy to give, as opposed to what I heard.
Right. Well, I've worked with people who are like that. Lorne Michaels is someone who is also a genius, and his notes are very cryptic to the point that he tells them to you. you're destroyed, and then you also don't quite know what he said.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they get caught up in themselves, or
Yeah, I think maybe. I think maybe you're right.
I don't know whether I'm allowed to say that, but it's true. It's you know,
Yeah.
and they have a point to make, and they're passionate about the point, but they're not necessarily diplomatic.
Yeah.
But I think it's true of any of us that are in the lower echelon. The actor is the low man on the theatrical totem pole, so we get beat up all the time.
Yeah.
It's just the way it goes. It's not nice, but we have to expect it from our director, from the musical director. You know, if you're in a musical, from the composer, from the lyricist, you're going to get notes that are change your life.
Being away from a live audience, what is it like having it back? Is it everything you remembered, or is it even more valuable having taken time away?
How did you feel? How did you feel?
You know, it's great.
It is.
It is really great. I also think, I think I forgot how easy it was to pander like that and get applause.
But I think that it was a scary time because we didn't know when it would end.
Yeah.
That was the thing that was like freaking me out. I went to the dark side so many times. I thought, is this my life now? And if this is my life, do I want this life?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is this retirement? But I think also the audiences that we are playing to are happy and grateful that there is that live interaction again. We all missed it. There's how many Netflix shows can we binge watch?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Without some sort of connection. And I find that in company now, I feel the same response. I'm sure that you do with this audience.
Really lovely.
It's really, I could cry right now because we need that interaction. We need that connection with each other.
You did something else during the pandemic that I want to thank you for, because it was interesting, right? We didn't have audiences, but yet we also, I don't know if you felt this, I felt this connection with my audience that I hadn't had before, because I was doing a show alone into an iPad, hyper aware that most people watch it alone into an iPad.
Right.
And so even though there was nobody and I couldn't hear anything, I felt like they were right there, and there was an authenticity to that. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear that. I felt you. But you started shooting videos in your basement that were the same thing. Like, it was an authentic version of you that I feel like maybe people like me who are a huge fan of you, maybe we didn't know your personality as well, and then you shot these videos and we got to know you through that, even though we were, a million miles away. What gave you the idea to start shooting those?
Rosie O'Donnell, a lot of us, I think I became more famous on Zoom than I'd ever been in my professional life. Rosie O'Donnell did a benefit for the Actors Fund, and she asked me to sing. I was going to do it a cappella, but I had to get the note from the piano, and the piano's downstairs, and the piano's right opposite the pinball machine. And people saw the pinball machine, and they wanted to see the rest of the basement. and I said to my husband, I said, well, let's show them the rest of the basement. What the hell? What do we got to lose? And so we started to show them the basement. That's what it was,
and
the basement tape.
The basement was one of the stars of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And for anybody who missed it, here's a quick look at Patty's basement.
I already made a video and it won't download, so now I'm just wildly dancing. That's the pinball machine. Want to see it? Oh my God! Here we go. It's my ball. No, it's not. Hey, the video I just sent was pretty great, and I can't download it because it's too long. What's with Twitter? What the with Twitter? Never mind. Okay, I want to show you this, and then we'll end it because I have no time. So this is something. I'm very proud of this. This is the second stage, All-Star 1987. Second stage, second prize for most time spent in the gutter. Who won first? Okay, I gotta stop. Bye.
It's quite a basement. Quite a basement.
My husband has a huge collection.
Yeah, he's put together. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
Just
having
a delight.
me.
You guys, that's Patti LuPone. Company is on Broadway now at the Bernard B. Jacobs Theater. For tickets and more information, please visit www.companymusical.com.